Save my bride, let's go for a ride in my newfangled automobile. Here's where we will go. Nobody knows, but it's sure a great way to feel. Behind the wheel of the Speed Meter Steel, it's my newfangled automobile.
Hello and welcome to Vintage Car History. I'm Wild Bill. History is filled with forgotten inventors. Men that created things which revolutionized industries and even cultures, yet are not given the recognition for their work that is well deserved. For example, Marconi was not the first to make a radio. It was done many years earlier by a forgotten inventor, Nathaniel Stubblefield. Robert Fulton did not invent the steamboat. John Fitch was running steamboats across American rivers a decade before Fulton made his vessel. And in the automotive world, there is an Englishman that immigrated to the United States that invented revolutionary technologies that greatly advanced the car as a reliable machine, yet is largely forgotten. This man is Thomas Jeffery. Thomas Buckland Jeffery was born in Devon, England in 1845. His father, also named Thomas, worked at a machine shop specifically as a gear cutter, and as a young boy he spent quite a bit of time hanging out with Dad, learning much about the trade. By the age of 16 he had a similar job in his own right, making engineering compasses and navigational tools for a local company that specialized in such mathematical tools. He was 18 when he immigrated to the U.S., ending up in Chicago. He landed his first job at a company making telescopes, but not long afterwards got a job at the U.S. Patent Office. Now, if you're someone that has a naturally inventive mind, what better place to work than at the Patent Office, where he actually built the models of whatever was being submitted based on the drawings and schematics he was presented. It also gave him insight on what inventors were working on in the U.S., and one of those inventions was the bicycle. It was through his work there that he became aware of the inventor and businessman Colonel Albert Pope, who will get his own episode at some point. Now, Pope founded the first bicycle factory in the United States in 1876, and the bike craze hit the muddy, unusable streets of America. At that time, even bikes were difficult to use in the USA as paved roads were extremely rare. Also, tires were just solid rubber glued or nailed to the rim, and they just cut into the roads and bogged down. Indeed, American roads were really only usable by those on foot, be they human feet or hooves. The term jackassable was colloquially used to describe the roads in America at the time. So, Tommy Boy went into business in 1879. He partnered up with a Mr. Gormully and founded his own bicycle manufacturing company, which he called Rambler. However, the road situation and what it did to even the solid tires of the time was still problematic, and he put his inventive mind to work. In 1882, he invented and patented the safety rim. This was a new type of tire system that had a beaded rim along each side that was screwed onto the wheel and thus kept the tire from falling off on the rough roads. This innovation made his small company explode in sales, and within a few years was second only to Pope in bicycle manufacturing in the USA. When the first pneumatic tires hit the market in 1889, Jeffery was the first to use his beaded rim design to make installing and repairing these tires a simple matter. Since the raised beaded rim would keep the tire snug on the wheel without gluing, it was possible to repair a tire on the road as opposed to having to take it immediately to a nearby tire shop, which was not always a convenient thing to do. He also improved the tire design itself to have a sealing bead of its own to snuggle more securely into the rim. This was a monumental innovation, as flat tires were extremely common. Keep in mind that horseshoes also tended to get pulled off in the American muck, and so the roads were riddled with nails. Jeffery's clincher tire, patented in 1892, would be the standard for the next 2 decades on both bikes and cars, and is the basis of the rims and tires on your car to this day. Speaking of cars, Thomas witnessed the first American car race, which took place in Illinois back in 1895. This got his gears turning, and by 1897 had designed and built his first car. It was fairly simple, single cylinder of 5 horsepower, 2 forward speeds and a reverse, and built much like a bicycle. No surprise there. Now his eldest son, Charles, was a darn good engineer in his own right, and over the next 2 years tweaked and improved the design. Thomas and Charles displayed the car at some local fairs in 1900, and it got a lot of notice. Its front-mounted engine, a departure from the typical runabout that usually had the engine under the seat, made it easy to service, and the public wanted more. Thomas went all in, selling his Rambler bicycle company to Albert Pope that same year, though he was allowed to keep the Rambler name. And thus, after acquiring a new manufacturing facility and with the excellent aid of his son Charles, founded the Rambler Motor Car Company in 1902. Located in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the production Ramblers were more traditional runabouts with underseat single-cylinder engines, but were well priced and sold well. In their first year of production, Ramblers sold over 1,500 units, second only to the curved dash Oldsmobile in U.S. car sales. By 1904, Rambler was offering 2-cylinder cars of more conventional design, and by 1905 had sold over 7,000 cars, making them one of the largest car makers in America. A 4-cylinder 16-horsepower car was offered in 1906, and with their patented clincher tires, proved to be able to handle the sludge that was American roads at the time. Unfortunately, Thomas Jeffery passed away in 1910 from a heart attack while he was vacationing in Italy. But Rambler continued on, and in fact is the same Rambler that was eventually absorbed into the Nash Company. Like Stubblefield and Fitch, Jeffery is a largely forgotten today. But know that the wheels and tires that you drive on today were his brainchild, and we all have much to thank this man. Thanks for watching Vintage Car History, and we'll see you next week. Peace.